in Tafshim Mem Gimel, in the summer Mem Gimel, I was head counselor in the day camp, and I wrote the Rebbe, I wrote the Duch. And I received a letter from the Rebbe. The letter is dated Yom HaSlichus Tafshim Mem Gimel, and is a, kind of a Klali Prati, Likas Shana Chadasha, like a letter that the Rebbe sends many people who wrote a bracha for the new year. So the Rebbe is giving a bracha for the new year. And my letter was not about the new year, it was the end of camp. I sent a duch, I sent a pan that I made the children write, sent pictures. I received this letter at the end of Cheshvan, Tavshim Mem Dalet. So it's about 2 months after it was written. I got the letter, it was in Brunua. And the Rebbe writes, Ha'avrech oisek betzorke tzibur Michoel Sheichye. So for a bacher to get oisek betzorke tzibur, especially when you're still in yeshiva, is something very strange. I mean, not strange, very rare. Not unusual. Unusual, thank you. And I, so already did. Then the Rebbe says, the Rebbe writes, Haduch, and then in pen he adds Ve'apana Metzurev Boy, and the pan that was included in the Duch and the Skablu were received, and they will be read at Bezratzen, they will be read at the Tzion. And then, Likas Shana Chadasha, the whole bracha for the new year. At the end of the letter, Bivracha is typed, and before the signature, the Rebbe writes with a pen, with Ksagat Kodesh, Bivracha lehatzlacha, bechinuch yalde b'nei Yisrael shlita al taras HaKodesh. So the Lashon is also unusual. Yalde Yisrael, what do you mean Yalde b'nei Yisrael? Yes, a bracha of success in education of Jewish children, al taras HaKodesh, a proper Jewish education, pure education, and then the Rebbe signed. Here, this is, I would say, the third letter the third answer that I got from the Rebbe that put me in a shock. I was 18 years old, maybe 19 years old, and I thought that Shlichus means going to a city, you take over the world, you turn around the city, you make a Beis Chabad, and you open school, and this and the other. No, Shlichus. This is before Chabad was printed, And that's the way I understood Shlichus. And this was my dream. This is what I wanted to do. And I saw in this letter as if the Rebbe is directing me towards Chinuch. Give me a bracha. So of course I went to the Mashpia. I ran to Rabbi Nissen with the letter, and I said, Rabbi Nissen, is the Rebbe telling me that I should work on Chinuch, in Chinuch? So Rabbi Nissen looked at the letter and he says, Haduch, well, what duch did you write? I said, a duch about camp. So, you wrote to the Rebbe about Chinuch, so the Rebbe gave you a bracha on Chinuch. I said, listen, I like your answer, but the Rabbi Milubavitch, this is the Lubavitcher Rebbe talking here. It's not just you wrote, he wrote, right? So what? So he said, don't worry. So I was happy, thinking that maybe my Shlichus is not going to be in Chinuch. And as I said, I tried all kind of different things. When I was a Bachi, I went on Shlichus in, very interesting places, Mecca Shlichus. Being a Frenchie in 770, by the way, we're not that many as today. Those years, maybe we're a dozen Frenchies.
There were French guests for Tishrei, but not learning.
Oh, thousands, of course. But 770, a whole year in 770, maybe a dozen. And we don't get much privileges. But one privilege we got is that my English-speaking friends went on Merkel Shlichus to Milwaukee. I went to the Caribbean. I went to Africa. Places where they speak French. Mm-hmm. So I that's where I saw myself. And like I said, after I got married, I went on Shlichus and Tagi. Everything was fine, the Pierre, whatever. But they had a different plan. And it's about 10 years after this letter, 11 years after I got this letter, I ended up in Montreal. And ever since, this is what Amoisek is Chinuch. And I don't see myself doing anything else. And I tell people who think that Shlichus and Chinuch is a cop-out. You want to be a shliach, at the same time you want to have fresh baked goods and your kids in the cheder. It's not a cop-out. It's a talent. If you have the talent, the Rebbe chose you to go on that Shlichus. If your talent is to talk to people, to student university, that is a shlichus. You know, there isn't a lashon in the letter that the Rebbe sent before Yud Shvat of Shin Yud Aleph. This is Hareuyim lezeh, we should go speak in the shuls. Hamuchsharim lezeh, should go and speak to the youth. There is different kishroinus. If you are fit to speak as a rabbi in a shul, that's your job, that's your shlichus. If you are fit, if you are talented to be able to have an influence on the youngsters, that is your shlichus. So basically, shlichus is not necessarily what you want, it is what the Rebbe wants you to do.
Well, what's the lashon? Ilu nitztavinu lachtiv eitzim. If our job would be to chop wood, that's also a shlichus, because a shliach by definition is doing the will and the ratzon of the mishalech. That it's not about your career; it's about fulfilling the shlichus that was given to you. So, maybe dafka if you're doing the shlichus that you didn't think you're going to be doing, you're doing it more for the right reason, for the mishalech. So